Hey everyone, welcome back to my share spot. Today we are jumping into strings in C sharp. We use strings all the time, but there is a lot more under the surface. Today I'll walk you through the essentials, tips for amazing performance, and some powerful features you might not know about. Let's get started. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a string in C sharp? A string is a sequence of characters used to represent text. In C sharp, string is just another name for system.string, which is a type that comes with lots of built-in methods to help you to work with text. Let me show you an example how we can create a string. String, this is a data type that represents text and it's used to store a sequence of characters. Let me give the variable name as message. It's a container where we'll store our text. Okay. Let me use an assignment operator. This assignment operator which assigns the value to this variable message. Okay. Let me give the value. Let me enclose within double quotes. Hello. Okay. This is how we need to create a string. So what happens when we run the program? It creates a spot in the memory labeled message and it stores the text hello in it. Okay. So this text, whenever you need it, you can use it in your program. Now you understood how to create string. One important concept in C sharp that strings are immutable. But what does it actually mean? When we say string is immutable, we mean that once string is created, its value cannot be changed. Let's explore this step by step and see what's happening under the hood with an example. First, let's clarify what immutability means. When you work with strings in C sharp, you might think you're modifying it directly, but that's not what's happening. Instead, every time you change a string, a new string object is created in memory, and the old ones remains unchanged. This behavior is what we mean by immutability. Suppose we start with a string called name and set it to Shri. Now, if you want to add Vatsa to the end, we might think we are just adding on to the existing string called name. But in reality, C Sharp creates an entirely new string in the memory with the combined text Shri Vatsa and update the names to refer to this new string. The original string Shri remains unchanged behind the scenes. This immutability has some advantages. Since strings don't change once created, they are safe to share across different parts of a program, knowing that no part of the code can accidentally alter the original text. This can help prevent bugs and maintain data integrity. However, there is a trade off. If we modify a string often, say in a loop where we keep adding or changing the text, each modification creates a new string, which can increase the memory usage and slow down the program. In these cases, it's often better to use a string builder which is specially designed for frequent text modification without creating multiple new strings. So, understanding that strings are immutable is crucial as it influences how we handle and manipulate text effectively in our programs. Now, let's explore some of the essential operations you'll frequently use with the strings in C sharp. These include ways to combine, manipulate, and modify text effectively. First, let's talk about concatenation. Concatenation is simply joining two or more strings together. The simple way to do this in C sharp is by using plus operator. Now, let's take a simple C sharp example of how we can create a strings to create a full name. In the first line, we declare a variable, string variable called first name and assign a value Arun. Now, this first name holds the text Arun. Now we'll declare another variable last name and assign the value Raj. Now this last name holds the text Raj. Now comes the interesting part. We want to combine this first name and the last name to create a full name. For this we need to declare new variable called full name. Then we need to concatenate using plus operator. First, let me take first name, and I'm using this plus operator to concatenate the strings. In between, I need one space, so I'm just adding one space, and next I'm adding this concatenation operator, and then I'm adding last name. Okay, so when this code runs, the full name variable will contain this combined text Arun space Raj. Let me print this full name, console.writeline full name, and let's save this. Let me run this code. Yes, this gives us Arun Raj, Arun space Raj. This concatenation is easy to understand and works well for joining small pieces of text. I hope you understood how to use this concatenation operator. Next up, we have string interpolation, which is a newer and clearer way to format strings in C Sharp. With interpolation, we can include variable values directly within text using curly braces and preferred by $sign. This approach is especially useful when we need to construct more complex messages. Now, let's see an example to understand how this string interpolation works. First, we declare an integer variable named age. Let me assign the value 24 to it. This represents Bharat's age. Okay. Now, next, we declare a string variable named message. Okay. Here is an exciting part. Instead of concatenating the strings using plus operator, we use string interpolation by starting a string with a $sign. Inside the string, let me type it as Bharat is. Let me use this integer variable age within curly braces. Yes, old. Let me add semicolon. By doing this C sharp automatically replaces this age with the value this 24. Okay. Now let me print this using this console.writeline message. Save. Let's run this code. See, now you can see the final value of the message. Bharat is 24 years old. String interpolation makes the code more readable and easier to maintain compared to the plus operator for concatenation. Imagine if you have several variables to include in a message. Using this interpolation operator allows you to organize everything neatly inside a single string. So instead of joining the parts with a multiple plus signs, correct? So the string interpolation is a clean and a modern way to build these dynamic strings in C sharp. It saves the time and also it avoids messiness of the older concatenation methods. C Sharp also provides many useful string methods to help with text operations. Let's look at few of them. The first method is to upper. This method converts a string to uppercase. For example, here I have created two strings, one string called this greeting. This is in lowercase and the another string is uppercase greeting. So here I am using this upper method to convert this string greeting to this uppercase. So here I am using this console.writeline to print these two lines. Let me run this code and let's see how it works. Yes, here you can see this greeting is in lowercase, this uppercase greeting is in uppercase. Okay, so this is helpful when you need to standardize text to a specific format like uppercase. The next string method is substring. Substrings allows you to extract a portion of string Let's say we have an email address kavya@example.com. Now, we only want to get the domain part, that is example.com. So how we can do that is using this substring method. Here I'm using this substring method to extract the portion of this domain. Okay. So here we are starting at the index 6 so that the substring starts right after this kavya at and captures everything to the end. Okay. And that value I'm storing it in this string called this domain. I'm using this console.writeLine to print this domain. Let's run this code. Yes, you can see it extracted only that domain part, that is example.com. This is how this substrings works. Okay, the next string method is replace. This replace method replaces the occurrence of a specific substring with a new one. Okay, so if we need to replace a certain word in a sentence, we can use this replace method. So in this example, I have defined a string original text. To this original text, I'm assigning the value hello world. Okay, so what I want is instead of this world, I need this C sharp. Okay, so here it is displaying as hello world. So instead of that, I need hello C sharp. So what I'm doing is to this original text, I'm using this replace method to replace this world with this C sharp. And whatever the result I'm getting here, I'm storing it in this string new text. Okay, I'm using this console.writeLine to show you like how this new text looks like. Let's run this code. Yes, see, it successfully replaced world with C sharp. Okay, so this is useful when you need to make a targeted changes with a large text. For example, changing names and dates. Okay, these operations like concatenation, interpolations, and various methods are the core tools for handling and transforming text in C sharp. Okay, mastering them help you to manage data effectively, whether it's a simple message or complex data processing. Okay, let's dive into an important concept when you're working with strings in C sharp. Understanding null, empty, and whitespace strings. Differentiating these can prevent common bugs and also it will help you to keep your code running smoothly. First, let's see null. A null string means that no value has been assigned at all. So here I'm assigning null value to this null string. That means I'm not assigning any value to it. Okay, when a string is null, it doesn't point to any object in a memory. That means this null string is not pointing to any object in a memory. So when we are trying to use it or manipulate this null string without checking it first, it can lead to errors. The next one is empty. An empty string is represented using these double quotes. This is how we can declare the empty string. Okay, this is different from null because it's a defined string that simply has no characters in it. So here you can see we don't have any characters within this double quote. You can think it of like it's like an empty box. It exists, but it doesn't contain anything. Unlike this null, an empty string is safe to work with, but it doesn't hold any characters. Okay, the next one is whitespace. This whitespace strings consist of a characters like spaces, tabs, or new lines. Okay, so which don't visibly appear when printed. So here I have defined this string, whitespace string. Now I have added 3 spaces here. Though this string has no visible content, it's technically not empty because it contains whitespaces characters. Okay, the next one is null or whitespace. This method goes a step further, checking if the string is null, empty, or only contain whitespace characters like spaces or tabs. Okay, this method is helpful when we want to make sure that the string contains actual content. Let's see with an example. See, here I have defined a string greeting. I'm assigning whitespace to this string. Here I'm adding a if condition. So, if the string is null or whitespace, then only this line will execute. Okay, only if this condition is true, then only the below line will get execute. Otherwise, it will not execute. Let's see how it will work. Yes, it is executing because it's a white space. Let me change it to empty string. Now also this line is getting executed. Let me add null value. Now also this line is getting executed. Let me add any character. Now the condition fails, this line will not execute. So when we want to check whether it contains a null, white space or even empty string, we can use this is null or empty space method. Now you have a clear picture about this null, empty string, and also this whitespace string. Okay, with this understanding, you can handle different string values, ensuring that your code won't run into errors from unexpected null, empty strings, or whitespace strings. Now, let's explore two useful ways to handle text with special characters in C Sharp: escape sequences and verbatim strings. Both are particularly helpful when dealing with file paths, special symbols, or multi-line text. Let's start with escape sequence. Escape sequences are special codes you can use to include characters in your string that would otherwise be difficult to type or read. They start with a backslash. So, we can see some of the common escape sequences. Let's start with escape sequence. Escape sequences are special. Let's go one by one. The first one is double backslash. This insert a single backslash in the output. For instance, if you want to represent a file path like this, C colon program files slash app. So how we can write a code is, let's take string, let me name it as path. Okay, you can add C colon. Here we need to add double backslash to get single backslash in the output. Program files, again double backslash app. Let's add semicolon here. We print this line. Path. Okay, let's run this code. Yes, in the output you're getting only single backslash. Okay, the next escape sequence is slash in. This inserts a new line. Okay, so let's see with an example. String message may assign hello, comma, world, console.writeline message. Let me run this code. In this, you can see the hello world is printing the same line. Okay, let's add this escape sequence slash in here. Let me run this code again. Yes, you can see this hello world, the world is printing in the next line. That is because of this slash in. This slash in moves this text to the new line. Okay, the next escape sequence is backslash and this quotation mark. This allows you to include a double quotes within a string. For example, string quote is equal to. I've included this string here. But the thing is, see here, I'm using this backslash and this quotation mark, and I'm ending this with backslash and this double quotes. Okay, let me run this code. See here, you can see this hello world in this double quotes. Okay, so here what we are doing is we are telling the C sharp to treat this quotation mark as a part of string instead of ending it. Okay, well, escape sequences are powerful, but using many of them together can make your code look complicated, especially when you're dealing with file paths or multi-line strings. This is where verbatim strings comes in handy. A verbatim string is created by placing an @ symbol in front of the quotation mark. So this tells the C sharp to ignore the escape sequences and treat everything inside it as a literal text. Let's look at the previous example with a verbatim string. String file path is equal to @ symbol. So I'm placing this @ symbol in front of this quotation mark. Okay. So next I'm adding this file path here inside this double quotes. Okay. With this symbol, we don't need to add double backslashes. Okay. This C sharp knows to take the path exactly as written. So this makes it much simpler and cleaner for the file paths or text that might include many special characters. So let's run this code and see how this output will look like. Yes, here you can see the path exactly is printing as that is mentioned within this double quotes. Verbatim strings also support multi-line text. Let's say you want to define a message that spans multiple lines. For example, string message is equal to, we need to add this @ symbol, this is a long message that spans multiple lines in the code. Let me print this message and let's comment these 2 lines. Okay, let me run this code. Yes, with this @ symbol, each new line in the code will be reflecting as a new line in a string. So, in summary, what we can say is use escape sequences for individual characters or small adjustment in the text, and use this verbatim strings when you want to write file paths or multi-line text more naturally and readably. Let's talk about a common performance issues when working with strings in C#. Because strings are immutable means once they are created, they cannot be changed. Every time you modify a string, you're actually creating a new string in a memory. This repeated creation of new strings can add up in terms of memory usage, especially if you're working with large amount of text or making frequent modifications. So, to solve this problem, C# provides a string builder class. This class is designed for efficient string manipulation. Unlike regular strings, string builder is mutable. So you can change its content without constantly creating new objects in memory. So let's see with an example. Okay, we start by creating new string builder. String builder SB is equal to new string builder. Okay, we can use this append method to add text to it. Let's append hello. We append world. Okay, each append adds more text without creating new object. So when we are done with building this string, we need to use toString. Let me create string result is equal to sb.toString method to get the final text. Okay, let me print this using this console.writeLine. Yes, you can see this hello world. Okay, so using this string builder is especially useful when we need to build a long string piece by piece or modifying it frequently. This approach is not only more efficient but also improves performance by reducing this memory usage in your applications. So whenever you find yourself needing to concatenate or modify strings repeatedly, you can use this string builder. With the release of C# 11, we gained a fantastic feature, raw text literals. This allows you to create multiple strings effortlessly. So you just wrap your text inside triple quotes and you can include the line breaks without worrying about escape sequences. This is especially useful for the large block of text such as SQL queries or formatted paragraphs. And this makes your code much cleaner and easier to read. Let's see this with an example. Let's take a string. I can name it as text is equal to, I need to add 3 triple quotes. Okay. Inside this, I can write this is a multi-line string. Let me add this semicolon here. Let me print this text. Let me run this code. Yes, here you can see how this works. Okay. When we are working with strings in C#, comparing them accurately is essential. And we have several methods to choose from. We have equal to operator, equals method, and compare method and compare ordinal method. Let's see one by one. Okay, let's start with equal to operator. So, this is the simplest way to compare two strings with this equal to operator. So, this checks whether the strings are exactly same, including this case sensitivity. Let's see with an example. Let's take string str1 is equal to Harshita. Let's take another string. It's also Harshita. Okay. Now let's use this boolean R equal is equal to str1 is equal to str2. Okay. Let's print this. Yes. Here we are getting the output as false because this Harshita and this Harshita have case difference. Okay. So here I'm using this capital H. Here I'm using the small h. So there is a difference between cases. So we are getting it as false here. Okay, the next one is equals method. This equals method provides more options. It allows you to specify different comparison types. To the same example, let's take boolean. We can name it as is equal to str1 dot, here we are using equals str2. You can use string comparison ordinal ignore case to ignore case differences. Okay, I'll add it and then we print it. Let's run this code. This equals is returning true even though this str1 and str2 is different. Okay, because we specified it as ignore case, so it is ignoring this case and it is giving the value as true here. Okay, and the next one is compare method. The compare method allows for more detailed comparisons and returns an integer. It will return 0 if the strings are equal. It will return negative number if the string 1 is less than string 2. And it will return positive number if string 1 is greater than string 2. So that can be more useful for sorting the strings. Okay, so let's see with an example so that you can understand. Let's define a string str1 is equal to apple. String 2 orange. Okay, I need an integer variable to store the result. Result is equal to string dot compare str1 comma str2. Let me print this line. Let's run this. Yes, here you are getting this negative number because apple is less than orange. And the last one is compare ordinal. Compare ordinal works similar to compare, okay, but it is faster when you don't need cultural rules or you want a simple byte to byte comparison. You can use this compare ordinal. Let's see with an example. Int ordinal result is equal to, we are directly comparing it. Compare ordinal. Let's compare apple. Apple. Let's print this. Let me run this. So it is giving this positive number. So that means it is ignoring the case and it is just comparing. So in summary, you can use equal to operator for basic equality checks, and you can use this equals method with the string comparison for case insensitive or cultural aware comparisons. And you can use this compare and compare ordinal for sorting or for more detailed comparisons. So each method has its own what. To wrap things up, here are some key takeaways. Strings in C Sharp are immutable, which ensures data integrity but requires awareness of memory usage. Familiarize yourself with a basic string operation as well as performance tips like using StringBuilder when making frequent modifications. Embrace raw text literals for cleaner multi-line text management and always choose appropriate comparison method. These strategies will empower you to handle R strings effectively in your C Sharp projects. Thanks for watching and happy coding.